Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we're going to do an updated Forest character guide on my boy Noctis. If you are not familiar with Noctis, he is a damage dealer. And what he does is he does do like these follow-up link attacks like to his own attacks on certain situations. He has a little bit of launching in his kit. His unique ability is that he has his LD attack gives a really unique buff that makes it so like your party members' turns don't eat up turn count. And they can like step in front of the enemy, and basically you can keep taking turns in front of the enemy, which is pretty cool. And then his BT gives him follow-up, so he does have a lot of really good offensive things to his kit. So in this video, we're going to look at his calls, his artifacts, and his spheres, and then we'll do a little showcase, see how my boy Noctis is looking after these upgrades. So his calls are really nothing I would really use. His 15 doesn't have any color effect at all. It's pretty much just an attack, and that's about it. I know Shooting Star can launch, but I don't know if the call version of it even launches. And even if it did launch, to have like a single launch on a call, not really worth it. Then we've got the Steel Pirouette, which does give you Eye Brave up, Brave Regen up, and a Brave Gain up as well. And then it does put a debuff called Point Blank Warp on the enemies. So it's okay, it's decent. I don't know if this does the full Steel Pirouette effect where like you will get the free turns. You might. The Point Blank Warp does make it so that like Noctis does extra follow-ups, but on a call, like I don't think there's enough here on this call that you would justify taking it over like a Rydia or a Raijin or a Mid-Italian or a Ferris. Like there's just so many better calls. So I really wouldn't worry about Noctis for his calls, right? Let's go ahead and look at Noctis himself here. So my Noctis isn't quite maxed out. I actually have like the opposite problem that I normally have. So normally the issue is I'll have a character built with FR, but I don't have the BT. Well, this is the opposite, where I've actually got Noctis with BT, but I didn't get the FR. If I had any amount of tickets, I would have gone till I got the FR, but I literally came in here with 20 tickets. So we don't have his FR, but he should still be looking pretty good elsewhere. We do have the BT to show off. We will definitely talk about and review what his FR does and his FR conditions. But we're just going to kind of look at Noctis pretty straight up here. And then we're going to show, we're going to kind of feature Tifa a bit and show how Tifa can work really well with a character like Noctis and Core in kind of conjunction with each other, right? So let's go ahead and look at his artifacts. So you want to go Attack 108 and Will of the Prince boost 2-star, which is going to be Max Brave and Attack. Once again, this is a damage dealer, so you just want to give him Attack and Max Brave as much as possible. Brave damage, that type of thing. On the spheres, same thing. Attack, Brave damage. You could do physical attack, things like that. Noctis' own sphere is pretty good, just because not many characters can use it. And it's a solid attack up, so you might as well give it to him because it's not one a lot of characters can use. So this is when inflicting knockback, and what knockback is when you do a launch. So pretty much when you launch, you get a 10% attack up for 8 turns. Noctis can initiate launching, so why not? Throw it on there. The other slot, you could do any attack up you want to. Lael you could use because it's another launching one, but it's a Max Brave up, which I don't know if I'd put Noctis just giving him a straight Max Brave up. I'd rather do more attack or Brave damage. So you could do like Jack, you could do Sephiroth, you could do Shulk, any character kind of like that on the A slot would be decent. Just look at what you have, find an attack up that you know that Noctis can fulfill, and you'll be good there. And then the E slot, I would say go Yuffie. It's going to be a Max Brave and attack up. That's probably his best one. I think Emperor and Seymour might work as well. But just any E-slot attack up is probably what I would throw down on Noctis. If you wanted to give him like a poison to give him a little bit more utility, that's always a fun thing you definitely can try out for sure. Depending on how you're using Noctis, if you're using Noctis a lot for his off turn, I mean, you could give him Vanille Sphere because he could steal breaks, right? So that's definitely an option because then when he's stealing breaks, he's going to debuff the enemies or basically dispel their own buffs, right? Which is pretty cool. So I think Vanille could be a decent shout out here on Noctis for sure. All right, with that, let's hop in and see what his numbers are looking like. I'm kind of curious here. So we are going to do a team comp here with Noctis, Core, and Tifa. So this is kind of a unique team build where I don't really have a true dedicated support, but I just want to show how you could abuse like a main DPS like Tifa with characters like Noctis and Core with off turn, right? And obviously we're going to feature Noctis himself and see his whole kit. But then I kind of want to do a little fun shenanigans with Tifa. Sure, we'll bring We'll go ahead and bring a Pinello in here. And Tifa, we gotta bring the gloves out, right? Put the big gloves on here. I mean, this is overkill. We don't need to do this, but why not? Let's go crazy overkill. All right, I think we're ready to hop in. Let's see what happens. So what we're going to do with Noctis is we're pretty much just going to go through his kit and talk about how he's working here, right? All right. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I am going to just start with LD and we can kind of talk about that. Oh, are the bursts? Oh, of course, the burst got all split up funky. That's so weird. All right, let's do Steel Pirouette. This is an attack that I've been talking about. We'll just go through this right away. So let's pop that. All right, and then he does follow up with Point Blank Warp. All right, perfect. So a mil and then 600k AoE. All right. So what the Point Blank Warp does, it basically makes him do a follow-up. So if the enemies have that Point Blank Warp debuff, he's going to get that extra attack kind of thrown on the end there. And then with the LD Steel Pirouette, it is an AoE Brave and HP attack. It does move Noctis's next turn right before the target's next turn. So we see we attacked enemy B, and Noctis's turn is coming right before enemy B. He's going to give himself a buff called Armiger, a buff called Bonds of Amidity, and the party is going to get Warp Step. So let's talk about all these buffs. So Armiger is a stacking buff, and it's going to be an attack up, max brave up, HP damage up to himself. And then it does add extra brave hits to his brave attacks, which is pretty dang good. And then Bonds of Amidity is going to be an attack and brave damage up, overflow stolen up, HP damage up, I brave up, brave regen up, and then brave gain in between every HP attack. So that is also a good buff. And then Warp Step to the party, which is crazy. This is going to be an attack up to the party. And then the party's turn is considered free, so it will not eat up turn count. And it moves their turn right before the enemy's turn. So let's watch this. So Tifa's got Warp Step, right? So if I target enemy B, Tifa will not eat up a turn count, and she's going to go right before it. So let's go ahead and do like Meteor Crush, right? So I'm going to do Meteor Crush. And you're going to notice the turn count should not go up. And Tifa just jumped, skipped right ahead of there. So you could loop combos where you go through every party member's Warp Steps. You could refresh Warp Step, do it again. This is kind of how people did 0-turn clears back in the day. You definitely don't need to shoot for that for any reason, right? But it is something you can do. All right, so core, let's go ahead and put Moonlit, and we'll put it on Noctis because we want to make him look good. So Oath of Absolute Defense there. Okay, and then core, we do need to get his EX buff up right away. We definitely want to get core's BT up as well. Try to get all that going. All right, Noctis is up again. So let's go ahead and show off another attack. So what you're going to notice is Shooting Star and Warp Strike. They have base versions and plus versions, okay? The way you get the plus version is like if you attack them with the normal version and they are broken or you break them, then it's going to upgrade to the plus version, okay? So let's do Shooting Star first. Well, actually what we could do is, let me just double check one thing really, really quick. Yes, so we're going to cheat a little bit. So if you want the plus versions right away, you can just do the AA, which is called Set Warp Advance. And it's going to make them the plus versions, which are really good, right? So you see we're going to get the plus version. So let's do Shooting Star Plus. This is a launching attack. So let's pop that. And then because they have that debuff, you're going to get the point blank attack. And we're going to launch on the end of it. And let's see how much damage we have on that. All right, so 1.4 mil. Pretty good for just like a normal button press, right? Not too bad at all. Tifa now... we could do full throttle and everything, but since we've got the Warp Step, let's take advantage of it, and we'll just hit enemy B. Now, the thing you have to be careful of is if you're doing Warp Step to stay in front, we just broke enemy B behind A. So now you see Tifa actually fell behind A, and now with Core, if we want to stay in front, we have to switch and attack enemy A, right? Now with Core, we are going to go ahead and hit Core's BT effect. So that way we can get Oath of Absolute Defense on Tifa as well. So now Core's going to need another turn to kind of set that up. I could have also done like the friend swap trick, but whatever. All right, so then Noctis. So, sorry, I should actually go through Shooting Star. So when he does the plus version, so normally it's just the Brave HP attack, right? But the plus version gives him the launching, makes other enemies launchable, allies Brave and HP damage 10% during the launch, moves Noctis's turn before the next target's turn, so it's like a free warp step, basically. He gets a free turn, and then it reverts back, so you get to use it once, okay? So basically, the non-plus version just does the first part of the attack and doesn't get any of the other benefits. So the plus version is way stronger. So let's go ahead and do Warp Strike plus. We'll hit enemy A. Okay, let's see the damage here. Yep. And we got the launch, and all that came from the previous attack. Okay, so Warp Strike is just the 4-hit Brave HP attack, nothing else. But the plus version moves his turn before the enemy target's turn, free turn, and reverts. So both of the plus versions, they're like free warp steps, where you can just stay in front of the enemy and get a free turn, right? Then he's going to get an attack up, and he's going to get a stack on that Armiger buff. The Shooting Star, by the way, also did a max Brave up and a stack on Armiger. I forgot to mention that. And then both the 15 and 35 will refresh Point Blank Warp, which once again, that's a defense down, and it gives him that extra Point Blank follow-up, right? All right, Tifa. What are we going to do with Tifa? I guess Tifa, we need a BT effect, don't we? Let's go ahead and do Tifa's BT effect. Sure, let's go crazy. I probably should get like a Raijin call down so that I don't get messed with too much here, but I think we should be fine. All right, Noctis. Oh, actually, I don't know. Do I even have a Raijin on this team comp? Maybe not. I could throw that call on. I could do that. Here's what I'm going to do. I kind of want to like ramp up and do something because I think I've already shown everything with Noctis except the EX. So sure, let's go ahead. Let's just bring in Pinello. And let's just do some ramping. Ramp while we got it. This also will make both the enemies breakable. So I can have some fun with that. All right, and then Pinello should be out. All right, so we're going to show some crazy shenanigans. So let's go ahead and let's get the BT effect up with Noctis. This is going to be one of the best parts about his kit. And let's see what the damage looks like here. It's actually my first time using his green BT. I greened him for this newest upgrade. I've never greened him before. I had his BT, it just hadn't been greened. All right. Perfect. So he's got a 6-turn BT effect. So let's talk about it and why it is so important. So this is his burst effect is 6 turns. It's going to do a party Brave damage up, Brave and HP damage limit up. The big thing though is after a party member attacks, he triggers an extra follow-up, which is very, very strong, right? Now Core's got his BT effect up. Let's double check here. So 2 turns of Oath left on Noctis. We are going to go ahead and because we have the BT up, we can now slam Oath on Tifa. So Tifa now will get Oath. And we can have that on both characters at the same time. Now on Core's next turn, we would have to refresh Oath on that. But there you go. Noctis did a follow-up for about a mil. Like these aren't like piddly follow-ups. These are big-time follow-ups, right? So where this gets crazy is if, say, we go into like a Tifa burst on a force time, crazy things will happen, right? Now here's what I'm going to do with Noctis. I kind of want to keep Tifa in front to like set up like her force and her burst. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to steal Pirouette here and give us warp steps. So let's go ahead and do that. I have the EX. I do want to show it. We'll show it in just a minute. So let me hit enemy A. We're going to steal Pirouette here. And then we can keep Tifa in front. And we can do what we got to do with her. Because she needs a little bit of setup with the FR. Because I'm trying to think. Her FR I don't believe is instant turn rate. So there we go. Just like a mil damage there. And then Tifa. Yes, we are going to go FR with Tifa now. Because we do not have Noctis FR. So we're going to showcase this kind of differently. Showing the value of Noctis as an off turn. Now having FR is definitely better. Because then you have Echo you can use and all that, right? These enemies are going to be absolutely melting away. But my goal here with Noctis, Noctis's Oath will fall off, but that won't really matter. Dude, look at that. Like, dude, just hitting over 1 mil on his follow-ups, it's going to be so busted. All right, so Noctis now. What I want to do is I want to stay ahead of enemy B. And what I want to do is we got to show off the EX. So let's see. What is this guy's EX? I remember his EX is very powerful. Let's see what this EX is doing here. I'm curious. This is at 123, by the way. So pretty much a fresh force gauge. He just attacks a lot. And then point blank. All right, 3 mil. That's pretty good. Because our gauge was not that high to be doing 3 mil. Plus the extra follow-up there, right? So let's talk about the EX really quick. Let me see. So the EX, he's going to get the plus version as long as the enemy has point blank warp, which you want. It does the big attack that we saw there. He brave gains in between his attacks. He gets a free ability use on the next turn, 3 stacks of the armature buff, and it refreshes point blank warp. So very simple. It doesn't do like any crazy buffs. It's just really, really nice damage on that attack, right? Well, now, Tifa, well, here's the thing. We can kind of abuse something here, right? Because I would want to go into Tifa Burst here, but watch this. Tifa's got Warp Step, 1 turn of it, right? So that should still trigger. So if I attack enemy A, in theory, I should be able to echo here and stay in front of enemy A and then go into Tifa Burst. So let's do it. And just the damage. The damage. And then Tifa just jumps right in front. Back-to-back turns. It can kind of work in the same way you would use a quick prayer with Luna Freya, right? Now we're set up. Let's burst phase and go absolutely insane here. Well, since it's Tifa, I mean, I can full throttle for free. Let's full throttle for free. And look at, we got Core following up. We got Noctis following up. We're doing all the things. There it is. Noctis. Dude, the damage, dude. 3 mil on the follow-up. Are you kidding me with the damage? It's really good, but you got to have the BT for it, right? Let's go burst phase. And then this is like something you can do with this type of team, right? So now we're just pressing insane buttons, and this fight will not last long. This is absolutely done. And what we're looking at here, because this is Noctis' showcase, look at Noctis' damage. So we do the HP damage first, then Noctis jumps in and is like, yep, I'm going to hit about 4 mil on that. Like, ridiculous damage. Tifa, sure, let's do this. I mean, this is where I see the strength of Noctis, to be honest. I actually don't think of him as, like, my main DPS. I think of him as another off-turn option. And this is, like, Kane on steroids, right? It's, like, ridiculous amounts of damage. And the reason they're so powerful is because they come from a BT effect. And it doesn't last terribly long, right? Like 6 turns. But you combo that with a speedy character or a burst phase, and you just annihilate fights. You annihilate because it's an off-turn character that has the power of being a very modern BT Force Echo character. I mean, it's crazy. Sure, Meteor Crush. And I mean, we're comboing it with Tifa, who's still, I think, the best single target DPS in the game still. Like, Tifa is just ridiculous. I mean, she's someone that didn't really fall off, and then they decided to give her Echo anyways. Gave her an upgrade. It's like, okay, the girl didn't really need it, but she got it, and she's just crazy. It's just the damage here. And we got Core doing damage as well. And I mean, you can do, for comparison, right? Like how busted Core is for all of his follow-ups. Well, he's doing like a fraction of the damage that Noctis is. Look at Noctis, 6 mil on that shot. Like, these are, it's not even like counter damage. These are just like full on strong attacks. It's almost like he's countering with an EX attack or something every time. It's just crazy. And we're doing this without launching. We could have launching on top of this. So imagine like a Rain's Call. We got Core popping off. We got Noctis popping off. I mean, you're putting up insane burst phases here. Because we're doing this without launch. And yeah, we got to hit the FR button. This is Tifa's like 60, 70 mil button. Now, that's normally with launch. I don't think we'll see that here. And we're not at 900%. But you get up to 900% with launch with maybe a little follow-up. Like, she's doing like a 60, 70 mil shot here. Yeah, just 16 mil there without all the extras, but that's fine. But you got to count that extra 6 mil in there. So that was more like a 22 mil or something like that. And then finish it off there. So anyways, guys, there you go. There's Noctis. He is a very nice character, but I would prioritize core over him. But if you decide to invest in Noctis, you can see he can do a lot of fun things. I do consider him a turn manipulator, and turn manipulation is a very good skill to have. He's now a modern BT Echo character. He does a lot of on-turn damage, but you can see that he's kind of like off-turn king for like per turn damage. Holy cow. Those are huge numbers on the off turn, so I'm very glad I greened the BT. I recommend if you use him, you do want to green the BT, because you don't want to have to waste your BT phase on like his weak normal BT. You want to hit that green button to get his big BT buff and go from crazy. And then if you are going to use his actual BT phase, you want it to be green because you get a better BT phase, and that's when it's really worth it. Now, before we hop off on this, we do got to talk about the FR. I don't want to forget that, right? So the FR, which we did not see in the video, he does combo with Zac, which I know a lot of you are going to be fanning over that. Y'all love Zac, y'all love Noctis. Very good combo there. So it gives him 2 stacks of warp steps. So when he's got the FR on, he can sit in front of the enemies for 2 turns and kind of do his own thing a little bit. And his percentages are actually pretty easy. If you act after one of your own allies, it's plus 40%. So the idea is you have some type of warp step, you stay in front of the enemies. As long as the previous turn was not an enemy turn, you get 40%, which is very free and easy. Then if there's any stacking buff or effect on an ally, it's another 40%. So it's a very easy free 80% that you can hold up. And Noctis is a character that you can run his FR, and you don't have to use his burst phase. You can manipulate turns with the warp step, and then let other characters do their thing, do their echoes, and then say go in with a Tifa burst and just blow things up from there while he's following up. That's the way I would use him. I actually wouldn't use Noctis for his own burst phase. You need to green him, press the button to get the follow-ups, do some warp steps, do your echoes, get the gauge where you want it, go into someone like Tifa and absolutely annihilate the fight. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think of this monster. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.